What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Okay, so Mr. Douglas Dean Johnson published the questions from the Congressional record of the November 13th hearing. He posted all the questions in his website. Douglas Dean Johnson also posted Lue Elizondo's answers to the questions. So we're going to go through them so you guys can see what stayed on record from that hearing from Lue Elizondo. So these questions are like general to directed at Lue Elizondo from all of the Congress people. They chose a bunch, and it goes like this: Dear Mr. Elizondo, enclosed are post-hearing questions that have been directed to your attention and submitted to the official record for the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation, and the Subcommittee of National Security. The Border and the Foreign Affairs joint hearing that was held on Wednesday, November 13, 2024, titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. To ensure a complete hearing record, please return your written response to the committee on or before Monday, December 23rd, 2024. So we know when that happened. So the questions are very straightforward, and Dean posted them. I'm going to leave a link in the description for everything. There are 11 questions, and Lue sent his response back. So let's go with question number one. Does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors, aerospace and otherwise, possess technology derived from a non-human source? Lue's response: yes, I served as the senior ranking person of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, within the Department of Defense. ATIP investigated unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP. ATIP engaged senior executives at DoD defense aerospace companies who claimed they possessed recovered exotic material, unquotes, not made by U.S. or foreign source, because these executives indicated that they could no longer glean additional insight from such material. They initially agreed to allow ATIP OSAP to take custody of the material. Confirmation of this may be referred from an official DoD Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review, what we know as DOPSR. Document dated September 6, 2023. This document authorized a release of a statement by Dr. James Lakatsky, the former director of the Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Applications Program, OSAP. The statement marked cleared for open publication reads in part. This is from James Lakatsky, guys. The $22 million allocated for DIA OSAP after speaking to multiple individuals on the program was originally intended to skiff out Bigelow Aerospace facilities in Las Vegas due to a UAP material divestment plan proposed to OSAP leadership by Lockheed Martin Space Systems Vice President, Dr. James Ryder, now deceased. So this is very significant because it seems Lockheed Martin were the ones who wanted to make this public. And what happened after that? See attachment number 2. This statement addressed the crash retrieval of UAP recovered during the 50s and other historical operations. I was also informed that immediately following the terrorist attacks on September 11, the U.S. government significantly reduced its UAP legacy efforts due to the budgetary constraints associated with the global war on terror. Question number 2. Does any branch of the United States military or defense contractors, aerospace or otherwise, employ exotic materials of non-human or non-terrestrial origin in any application, including aircraft and watercraft? Response: yes. The U.S. government or defense contractor has in its possession exotic materials of non-human origin. Question number 3. Has the United States government or defense contractors made new breakthroughs in physics that are currently undisclosed to the general public, including at the university level? Yes is the response. What? So we've been talking about this. Okay. Question number 4. Are you aware of any evidence or indication that the United States military or defense contractors have recovered craft of non-human origin? If yes, were non-human entities associated with these craft? If yes, were the non-human entities recovered alive? The response from Lue is yes, I am aware of several incidents where the US military and certain defense contract companies recovered craft vehicles of non human origin. In some cases, biological specimens were recovered from such crashes. And as a B section, I am unaware, however, if any of these specimens were alive at the time of the recovery. Furthermore, I am unaware if these biological specimens were complete specimens or partial due to the nature of the crashes. Several key scientists associated with both OSAP and ATIP were part of a conversation sponsored by the White House in approximately 2004 to determine if the US public was prepared for the acknowledgement of UAP by the US government. After approximately 1 week of deliberations, the decision was made that the US government should not disclose any UAP related information to the public. I wonder why that was. I have a theory. I'm going to let you know after this. This is, I believe, what Dr. Hal Puthoff was talking about back in the 2023 Seoul Symposium, the first one ever. Here's a clip that has Portuguese subtitles because I grabbed it from Ronnie Burnett's X account, which remains there. This is Dr. Hal Puthoff talking about that same week and what happened there and why they didn't go through with it. Here it is.
I was contacted by a CEO of a think tank in Washington, D.C. This is back a couple of decades ago. He says, I want you to come and participate in a conference here in Washington. I said, well, frankly, I'm too busy. What's it about? He says, I can't tell you what it's about. But if you come and you participate, you will consider it later to be one of the most important conferences you ever went to. Well, since I had respect for him and knew his background and many things he's done, I did finally decide to come to this conference. And when I arrived, there were about, 15, 20 people. I recognized some of them from the military, from CIA, DIA, some businessmen, and so on. So I thought, well, this is quite an interesting group of people. And so, to start the conference off, he said, this conference is about disclosing something to the American public. As a startup position, let's assume that there have been crash retrievals by Russia, China, and the United States. And the question is, can we bring this out to the public? And so I think I, and most of the people I knew, talked to them later, said, oh, this is really cool. I mean, this could really go someplace. So he said, okay, the strategy we're going to use is we're going to make a list of all the areas that you think would be affected by this. And then on each one, you're going to have to grade them on a scale from +9 to -9 as to the level of impact and whether it's positive or negative. Okay, so we started out by making lists. So we started out with the obvious things. Well, I mean, the stock market, maybe religions, well, certainly politics would be affected. So we made a long list. I mean, it was really a long list. And the time we got down to the bottom of the list, we were really in the weeds. Like, okay, if corporation A has access to retrieve materials that corporation B doesn't, then when this comes out, corporation B is going to sue corporation A, they're going to sue the government. This is really going to be a tough thing to kind of handle. So, okay. So anyway, we broke up into groups, each taking a certain number of the things that were in our list. Okay. And in my group, we added up the numbers, +9 to -9, and we ended up in the negative category, even though we were kind of positively disposed to the idea. So I thought, well, maybe that just has to do with the particular list that we got. So then I talked to other people that were on other lists and said, you know, we came to a negative number also. Well, make a long story short, it turned out that everybody going through these lists, it was a very sophisticated situation with complex computers and big screens and all that kind of stuff. It finally came down to the fact that the problem was there's so many areas to handle, and there was no way to handle them all at the same time. And so the final result was, therefore, the leader said, we're going to recommend that we don't go forward with this. And so those of us who were participating in this were pretty disappointed, thinking, we started thinking that, this would be a good thing to do.
But this is a question that we all ponder, right? What would be a good reason for the government to not disclose? There are many, but the probably one of the best reasons, I think, is that we as a species, humans, are still very young and very immature. We're very territorial, we're very tribalistic. And just imagine the level of chaos that we would have if, for example, we found out beyond any shadow of a doubt that we do have these abilities and that we can hone them. And or imagine we found out if there is new physics or there is some kind of new free energy technology. The very first test that we went through was when humanity split the atom. And what happened there? Nuclear energy can be used in many different ways that are not for killing people. But what did we do? We made a bomb. And the US bombed 2 Japanese cities. You guys forget about that part often. A lot of people haven't. And that is part of the issue too. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are very, very immature, very, very tribalistic, very, very hateful and aggressive and divisive. And having some type of new technology that they don't understand or we don't understand either might not be such a good idea. Dr. Putoff's explanation was also more related to logistics, but honestly, I think that what I'm telling you guys might be one of the reasons because, yeah, it just takes one psychopath to make everything go away, So I get it. There could be more reasons, more like science fiction-y reasons. We're getting invaded, stuff like that. I'm actually getting a video ready about this scenario of a potential invasion. I'm just going to treat it as a hypothetical, but when I do it, I'll let you guys know. It's going to be soon. But yeah, question number 5. Is it possible that UAPs are extra-dimensional rather than extraterrestrial? What I mean by that is it possible that UAPs might not fit in the traditional narrative of aliens from another planet, but could instead be entities from another dimension? Response: yes. Several scientists within ATIP propose that UAP may have interdimensional or even cryptozoological origins. What? Leveraging cutting-edge knowledge of quantum physics and human consciousness, some scientists suggested that non-human intelligence potentially responsible for operating certain UAP might be as integral to our environment as other natural phenomena. However, we currently lack the tools to observe or measure them using conventional scientific methods. Another hypothesis put forth by ATIP scientists suggests that UAP may originate from the depths of our oceans. There is a well-documented correlation between large bodies of water in UAP activity, which could explain why the US Navy has reported more incidents than the other services. Notably, as of June 2024, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, reported that only 26.1% of the global seafloor has been mapped with modern high-resolution technology. Question number 6, and this is a spicy one, guys. Are you aware of the recent claim made by journalist Christopher Sharp regarding Bigelow Aerospace, Lockheed Martin, and the CIA allegedly blocking the transfer of materials of advanced non-human origin? Response: yes. The CIA opposed the transfer of materials of advanced non-human origin from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow Aerospace. So, whoa, this is a direct accusation to the CIA. Let's see how that pans out. Question number 7. Can you confirm or deny the attempt to transfer non-human technology to Bigelow Aerospace from Lockheed Martin during your time at ATIP? Response: yes, I can confirm that specific facilities were identified to enable Bigelow Aerospace to acquire and securely store recovered UAP materials as the new custodian, following their transfer from Lockheed Martin. These facilities included locations in the Las Vegas area and the newly built hangar at the Patuxent River Naval Air Station, PAX. Specifically, the PAX River hangar was designed to facilitate the transfer of future materials via air and river. The hangar was purpose-built to meet the requirements of a special access program facility and was capable of accommodating materials at any classification level. I was informed that funding for the hangar, approximately $10 million, was allocated at the request of then Representative Steny Hoyer. I have visited this facility. However, as it was a new construction at the time, no materials had yet been transferred. So Lue is giving a specific location of a new facility that we didn't know about. This is really significant as well. So Lue is giving a lot of information that we're going to start vetting right now if we haven't already. So stay tuned for that. Question number 8. How was it determined that Lockheed Martin had such non-human technology to begin with? If so, how was it confirmed by Lockheed Martin? Response: I am unable to answer this question due to a lack of direct knowledge. That's a good response. Question number 9. Were you aware of any efforts by the CIA to block the transfer of UAP-related materials or information during your tenure at ATIP? Yes, and similar obstructionist efforts were also made by the U.S. Air Force. There seemed to be passive resistance from certain elements within the Central Intelligence Agency and a more active campaign by specific factions within the U.S. Air Force to suppress inquiries and investigations into the UAP topic. Another direct accusation from Lue Elizondo to the Air Force. Okay, question number 10. Do you believe that the CIA or other government agencies are actively working to conceal UAP-related information from the public? Response: yes. Many of my former colleagues and I have faced retaliations for a public advocacy for UAP transparency. This has included efforts to suspend or revoke our security clearances, as well as direct threats to our safety and that of our families. Some elements within the DoD and the intelligence community have engaged in what can only be described as administrative terrorism to deter individuals with security clearances from raising this issue. Other forms of retaliation included harassment, surveillance, adverse bureaucratic actions, unauthorized data leaks, criminal investigations, and even death threats. Additionally, efforts to discredit whistleblowers and spread disinformation to the public and Congress by certain Pentagon public affairs officials have persisted for at least 7 years, if not longer. And let's go to question number 11. Was any of all the 22 million said to have gone to OSAP program earmarked for this alleged transfer of non-human technology from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow Aerospace responds. The $22 million that funded OSAP ATIP was directed to a variety of programmatic needs, including commissioning academic studies on advanced physics concepts, funding civilian personnel and contractors, and conducting field research. As a result, 37 of these academic studies were published as Defense Intelligence Agency reference documents. See attachment number 3 for a complete list of published DIRTs. In addition to my responses above, I strongly encourage the committee to obtain the U.S. government's current UAP security classification guide, which outlines the classified aspects of UAP and their levels of classification. Additionally, the committee should review the latest UAP collection requirements from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, as these may highlight critical gaps in our understanding of UAP relevant to these inquiries. So, a couple of things. First of all, this stuff about the accusations that Lue made, he remains clear on his stance about ATIP, which has been heavily criticized. I just recently spoke to Robert Salas, and he doesn't seem to have a very good opinion on Lue. He seems very skeptical about him. He didn't insult him or anything like that, but he expressed his doubts about Lue. The fact that he's now responding in this manner, and this is on the record, does put him in a tough position if everything that's being said about him critically is true, which I'm not sure if it is. I think everybody who's like involved in this topic and sees the figure of Lue Elizondo has similar concerns, especially due to all the noise that is generated around him, because it's like a constant struggle between the people that criticize him and the people that defend him. And it's been happening for a few years now. So I guess that we won't know what the actual real truth is until we either get some official confirmation or Lue defends himself as any citizen would from either defamation or whatever, you know. But yeah, the part that really stuck with me was the fact that Lockheed Martin was actually willing to let go of these technologies, and then the CIA stopped them. And Lue reported that the Air Force also has some intimidatory practices, which is, I mean, those two agencies alongside the Department of Energy are probably the ones that may have this stuff, and probably the reason why the CIA has been always so critical of people like Lue or David Grush, and probably the reason why the Air Force has been so quiet throughout this whole process, which makes, I mean, makes all the sense in the world now that you think about it, right? But yeah, the other part that I found really interesting was Lue's knowledge or apparent opinion on whether these are interdimensional, which I know it's a really complicated matter to discuss because it's difficult for people to accept even the term interdimensional. It's such a difficult one to explain. But the fact that he's talking about interdimensional or even cryptozoological origins, that opens up the possibility that these Nazca specimens may be related to this after all. And now Lue is acknowledging it here. So I'm happy that there's finally a lot more people like coming around to the fact that some of these bodies are in fact real and were in fact living beings at a certain point in history and do in fact have tridactyl hands and feet, which is really weird. There's an effort going on right now of trying to get as much of the actual raw data of the mummies out to the public. That's all I can say about it, but it's really exciting. And I will let you guys know more about it as more information comes out that can be shareable. But it's exciting. So yeah, and he also insinuates USOs. Oh, that location at the Pax River. That's an interesting one because that could potentially be a place where some of this stuff is being kept hidden. So I know people are already looking into it. So that's a really big one too. But yeah, I found it really interesting that Lou does seem to have a lot of much more knowledge than he leads on the interviews that he does. Would be nice to hear him speak more about what he actually knows and not having him debunk images, which is it's a slippery slope. It's a really complicated one. Try to not do that. If you see an image, just see it, try to analyze it for yourself. But if you're gonna share, just make sure that it has provenance and it has been analyzed already, so you don't end up with some egg on your face. Because I know I've done that and I've made these mistakes. Everybody does. So we need to be really careful when we do images and video analysis and all that stuff. This information that can be even backed by documentation, that's what we're after. And Lou is providing some of it here. So kudos to Lou for that. I'm going to leave everything in the description, but let me know what you think about these new revelations that are on the record from the November 13th hearing last year. I want to know everything, all your different opinions on the matter. And that's going to be it for me today on the video. Let me know what you think. I know that the comments are going to be divided already because it's Lou, but this is the report and I have the report on it. Kudos to Douglas Dean Johnson for the report. He does amazing work. I'm going to leave his link in the description too. And that's it for me today. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when a new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a bunch of links in the description. Take your pick. And thank you for the support. We also have a members channel, so thank you for everyone who's been supporting us through there. And you can also find us on the KGRA website and the KGRA X account and Rumble as well. But yeah, that's it for me. And remember, stay curious. Bye.